The dining room hummed with the gentle clinking of glasses and the murmurs of polite conversation. The laughter that punctuated the air was warm, genuine, and entirely oblivious to the tension that coiled around my chest like a vice. For the first time in our 15 years of hosting these monthly dinner parties, I found myself an outsider in my own home. "You'll never believe what Philippe did for me last weekend," my wife Lauren said, her voice a siren call that drew all attention her way. She swirled the red wine in her glass with a nonchalant flair, her lips curling into a smile that bordered on giddy. Philippe, she'd mentioned him before, a work colleague, she'd said, an invaluable connection, but never like this. "Oh, do tell." Amanda, our overly curious neighbor, chimed in, leaning forward with the eagerness of someone who lived vicariously through others. Lauren didn't hesitate. "He surprised me with a weekend trip to Napa, a private villa, exclusive wine tastings. The works?" She chuckled, a sound so foreign it almost made me wince. Honestly, I felt like royalty. The table erupted in admiring gasps and delighted exclamations. My pulse thundered in my ears, drowning out their words. I stared at Lauren, my wife of 17 years, the woman I'd built a life with, who was now shamelessly recounting her lover's grand gestures as if I were invisible. She hadn't looked at me once. "That's incredible," Amanda cooed. "You're so lucky to have someone who knows how to treat you like that." "Lucky." Yes, Lauren was lucky. But she hadn't mentioned the man who'd spent over a decade working late nights to provide for her whims. The man who bought her this house, through these parties, and supported her through every flight of fancy and career change, me. Took everything in me to keep my voice steady. "It sounds like Philippe has quite the flair for romance," I said, my words slipping into the space with an almost unnatural calm. For the first time all evening, Lauren's gaze flicked to mine. There was a flicker of something there. Guilt, maybe, or irritation. It vanished before I could name it, replaced by a defensive smile. "He certainly does," she replied, her tone cool, defiant. "I'd seen enough." The rest of the evening passed in a blur of forced smiles and surface-level chatter. I played the role of the gracious host, ensuring glasses were never empty and plates were always full. Inside, though, my mind churned, calculating. I wasn't just angry. I was hurt, humiliated, betrayed. But above all, I was determined. By the time the last guest departed, the plan was fully formed. The following morning, I acted as if nothing had changed. I kissed Lauren on the cheek, wished her a good day at work, and watched her drive away. Then I got to work. The first step was gathering evidence. Philippe, as it turned out, wasn't exactly discreet. A quick search of Lauren's phone records revealed countless calls and messages. I forwarded the juiciest ones to myself, including the selfies she'd sent from their weekend escapade. Next, I logged into our shared bank account and compiled every expense she'd charged to joint funds. Meals, hotel stays, gifts. She'd been living her double life on our dime. Once I had everything I needed, I called my lawyer. Divorce wasn't the immediate goal, not yet. I wanted to ensure the fallout would be on my terms. The next dinner party was set for 2 weeks later. It gave me just enough time to set the stage. When the night arrived, the house sparkled with its usual charm. Candlelight danced across polished wood, and the air was perfumed with the rich aroma of cocoa vin. Guests filed in, chattering about everything from politics to the latest Netflix series. Lauren was in her element, laughing and mingling, her betrayal buried beneath a facade of domestic bliss. I waited until dessert before we dug into the tiramisu. "I have a toast to make," I said, standing with a glass of champagne in hand. The table quieted, all eyes on me. Lauren looked up, a hint of curiosity in her expression. 17 years ago, I married the love of my life. Lauren, you've been my partner, my confidant, and my greatest source of joy. Tonight, I want to celebrate you." A ripple of awe swept through the room. Lauren's smile widened, though there was a flicker of unease in her eyes. But marriage, as we all know, is built on trust. I let the words hang in the air, its weight palpable. And trust, once broken, can never be the same. The room fell silent. Lauren's smile froze, her knuckles whitening around her glass. Lauren, I continued. I know about Philippe. Gasps erupted like firecrackers. Lauren's face drained of color, her carefully curated composure crumbling. For months you've been lying to me, I said, my voice firm but steady. You've used our money, our home, our marriage as a shield for your deception. And last week, you had the audacity to brag about it at this very table. David, she began, her voice trembling. I held up a hand, silencing her. Save it. Turning to our stunned guests, I said, I've compiled everything. The texts, the photos, the receipts. I'll be filing for divorce on Monday. But tonight isn't just about that. From beneath the table, I pulled out a folder and placed it on the table. Inside, you'll find copies of Lauren's indiscretions. I thought it only fair that her friends know the truth about the woman they've been defending and admiring. Lauren's face contorted with rage and humiliation. How dare you? She hissed, her voice low and venomous. How dare I? I echoed, my voice rising. How dare you? You made a mockery of our marriage. You disrespected me, our home, and everything we built together. Consider this your reckoning. I turned to the group who sat frozen in shock. You'll forgive me if I don't see you out, I said, my tone laced with icy politeness. I have some packing to do. With that, I left the room, the sound of my footsteps echoing through the stunned silence. The fallout was immediate. Lauren's reputation was in shambles. Word spread quickly, fueled by the whispers of the very people she'd once called friends. Philippe, it turned out, was married as well. His wife filed for divorce within days, citing my evidence as grounds for infidelity. As for me, I moved into a sleek apartment downtown. The divorce proceedings were handled swiftly and efficiently by my lawyer. The settlement was fair, though heavily weighted in my favor, thanks to the mountain of evidence I'd provided. For months, I fielded apologies and awkward encounters from our former social circle. Some sided with Lauren, accusing me of overreacting. Others applauded my boldness, admitting they'd always suspected something was amiss. I didn't care either way. In the end, I was free of the lies, the betrayal, and the woman who'd once been my world but had ultimately proven herself unworthy of my love. And for the first time in years, I felt whole.